Hi, I'm Jay Woodwolf, and welcome to Cauldron Brew. I'm here with Julie and Lord Oswin from Pagan Coffee Talk.
Hi,
Hi, guys.
Hello.
how's everybody doing?
All right. Today we are going to talk about Samhain rituals, that which we've experienced, that which we've performed. I'm not asking for any trade secrets, but just kind of the gist of the ideas that you've experienced over the years.
Oh,
So
I
let's
don't got
start with
none.
Oswin.
All right. What you want to know?
um, some of the things that you've experienced within like different aspects of Sauron rituals that you've been a part of, either done
Um,
or
well, for us, it's usually a very emotional time. We reconnect with ancestors, those who have passed on recently, those who may have passed on previously. Um, we reconnect with all of them. We um, it's a time to connect with that side of you which that probably the darker side, what most people would refer to as the darker side. Um, it's thinking about death and thinking about um, those things that uh, need to change in your life. It's a celebration of a new year for us, so um, we try to incorporate things like that. um, but for the most part, it's a pretty solemn occasion, and you know we have our moments of laughter and tears, and it's all good.
Julie. I know you like last year we did a séance with you.
Right. Well, yeah,
Was that
sort
was
of a
that the
both.
first time that you've ever held a séance?
With the people that we know, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It was just more of getting a feel of everything and just because, with always be working with the dead. But with this time of year with ancestors and the spirits in general, since the veil is almost at its thinnest, I figured for the ones that normally don't work with that type of stuff, I thought it'd be an interesting aspect to, get everybody together to see what, would go on. I was going to do it again this year, but the vibe just didn't feel right with the people that we were with.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I was kind of expecting it yesterday, but it didn't happen. So
No, it didn't feel right. The atmosphere, the vibe, just didn't feel right because of the type of seance I was going to do.
yeah.
It's just the vibe in the house with just different people just wasn't right to be able to
Well,
hold
and
it.
yeah, and I would think that with anything of that nature, you would definitely have to have everybody on a common ground and in that basically the same headspace.
Right. Yeah, and the vibe in the house last night, it's to where it just the energy they brought, it felt different than what it used to normally be. It just
Hmm.
something just wasn't right. And I thought there's no way I'm going to take my time and effort and energy to pull in what we could have pulled in.
Right. No, of course
So
not. I
it
wouldn't
was,
either.
yeah, no, that's when I was just like, okay, I didn't bother with anything. What was really cool though is when my son, I cannot pronounce it. He did a ritual last night for the ancestors around the fire. It was a Norse, and it's usually reserved for family. But the group that we've known for almost 7 years, they had to take an oath to make sure um, that they're, what was it, Jay, that they,
No animosity towards the family was one of them.
right, basically that you're friends with us, there's no hidden agenda. and you're true to us because of he was going to be calling the ancestors, and he didn't want to anger the gods, goddesses, or our ancestor or the elves for that, because it's supposed to be a family affair.
Right.
Hmm.
So that it was really interesting how he did that, and then with the blessings to the ancestors and to Odin, and was it Freya?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was neat with that. I really enjoyed that one. That was the first time he did that one.
Yeah, it was interesting, and every time he does one, I can tell he gets better and better, and you
Oh yeah.
know,
Oh
I
yeah,
like
because
seeing that. I like seeing the
excuse
progress.
me. Right. Oh yeah, because usually what he does things uh quietly, just him and everything, or sometimes he'll do something just at home, when he's over just with the family of a bloat or something around Yule and that. So this is the first time he's did a full on ritual for everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's growing, and he's leaps and bounds. I'm
Yeah.
very proud of him, especially on his
Unlike
path
some
he's doing.
people, yeah, unlike some people we know that are just stagnant in their spirituality.
Almost all of them are anymore. I've
Yeah.
noticed, and it's sad, especially this time of year when it's the new year,
Hmm.
and the rebirth, the honoring of everything, and just doing that stuff.
One of the most memorable rituals that I personally performed, there was two actually, and you was a part of the one, and then the other one was a draconic ritual, and it was piercing the veil. And what I wasn't expecting is the spirit entering me,
Right.
and like people that was there, it was basically the crew that with a few extras, and a lot of people there actually knew who I was, and they're like during that ritual didn't know who you were. You changed.
Right.
I didn't even
Oh yeah.
recognize you.
Well, yeah, when
So,
this any form of spirit takes over you because you're a vessel for it. Yeah, yeah.
hmm,
I
Exactly.
can
Yeah.
understand that.
I wasn't expecting it. It happened. I come out of there afterwards, and we all go outside for a cigarette. The ones that smoked, we went outside to have a cigarette, and I was like, "Why does my knees hurt?" I said, "I'm sore." They're like, "You fell to your knees, dude." I was like, "When did that happen?"
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Just goes to show you
I
it's
didn't
not
remember a
necessarily
thing.
anything.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah. It's just like with seances or whatever you call in. A lot of times the channeler is supposed to be the one that gets taken over, but that's not always the case if a spirit comes
Right.
through. So it's
You
always
know, and
interesting with that.
yeah, in essence, a séance is a form of ritual, and essentially,
I've never
it's
heard of that, but okay.
technically it is.
Okay.
Rituals are done differently by different religions. Even
Well,
Catholicism
yeah.
have rituals.
Well, yeah, I
So,
know that. But usually I wouldn't think of it. I'm sure it is, but I just wouldn't think of a seance as a form of a ritual.
Well, you
yeah,
probably don't because it's part of you. It's part of who you are. It's part of what you do, and so you
Right.
probably don't think of it that way. But from an outsider's perspective, you
Okay.
you
Well,
see where
yeah,
I'm
I
going
could
with
see
that. From an
that.
outsider's
but
Yeah.
if
perspective,
you
it's another ritual.
Right.
right, like the Catholic exorcism, that is actually considered a ritual. It may not be considered uh, like something that a pagan might practice, but it's still
If
considered a religious ritual.
actually certain ones of us do can perform
Yeah,
exorcisms.
yeah. The exorcism is a ritual in and of itself.
Right.
So, I mean, the Mayans performed rituals, the Inca performed rituals. There's cultures all over the world that perform rituals. They may have largely differences in the practices and how they were performed and the beliefs behind them and the meanings behind them, but essentially they are all rituals.
Right.
Well, like I know around this time of year, we focus on the harvests. We focus on ancestors. Um, we've done any number of harvest rituals. Um, but at some point, we have a tradition that we do every year for Samhain, and our founder, Lord Min, he put together this poem, and we read it every year, and it's in remembrance of all of those who have done anything for witchcraft, have or any type of paganism, anybody who's been killed for various reasons, um, and a lot of it's incredibly personal to a lot of folks who show up, and it's like I said earlier, we do that to reconnect and to make sure that we never forget those who came before us and who did work
Right.
so that all of us, including Julie, Jay, anybody, not
Right.
just
Oh yeah.
not just us traditionalists, um, but anybody can practice paganism in some form or another.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. With the ancestors, yeah, what they had to go through to get us to where we
Right.
are today. Even though a half of it's gone backwards, but yeah,
Well,
yeah.
yeah,
that they have that in a way the freedom to be able to do that.
right. So that's
You
I
know,
mean
you
that's
go
one of the things
back
that we
to,
do every year.
yeah, you go back and you, like, when I do my personal one at this time, which I will do it Tuesday night after work,
Hmm.
because the Irish one is actually November 1st.
Right.
And so when I get out of work Tuesday night, I'll come home and I'll perform my solo. What I do is I remember the ancient druids and the slaughter of, they called it the, it was like, if you actually looked up St. Patrick and who he was, and
Yes.
he rid Ireland of the snakes, that was the druids.
Right. Snakes for the druids.
Yeah. So I remember the ancient druids and the slaughter of them.
Right.
So that's what I do, in my personal time, in my personal right, is I may not know the names of the men and women who were slaughtered, when practicing the art of the Driacht, but back then, but I just put it as, I remember those who were of the Driacht, the Druid magic.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and that helps me connect to my ancestors and where I come from, but it also helps me remember the struggles that people in the past have come across, making it illegal to practice the folk traditions of our homelands where we come from. We're not all, our family isn't from, originally from the United States. Parts of our family might have come from the United States, being Native American, but
Right.
largely my family is not Native American. We're immigrants here.
Right.
So my family is from Scotland, Ireland, Wales, England, all over the British Isles. So a lot of my ancestors were probably slaughtered for their folk traditions.
Probably.
So I use this time to remember them.
Right.
Some of the other rituals that we do that some may not consider rituals. Um, it's a good time for divination.
Yeah.
With the veil being thin. So you can do all kinds, just traditional divinations with tarot cards, runes, There's the old bobbing for apples. That was actually originally a divination.
Oh, I remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
who you're gonna
So
if you're gonna marry and stuff, and
exactly right. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean, there's some really fun things that you can do, and we typically do that. We we'll build a fire in the backyard and sit around and tell stories, and drink and feed, and just have a good time. And for us,
right,
that's part of our ritual of things. um it's a time to gather together and celebrate, and as well as remembering your ancestors. So those are some things
right.
we do that some people may not see as a ritual, but we do because it's something we do every year.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what I always did every year around this time. Is I would host a party to where there was food and everybody would get together, and if they wanted to bring their divinations to where they could, and that's when I would usually hold a séance and
Hmm.
stuff, and just here in Michigan our weather is never cooperative to be able to be outside and sit and
Mhm.
relax. We had a nice Indian summer for 2 days, and then the day on Saturday decided to get like 30 degrees out. But it was, but that's what I've always done every year. Just bring,
Right.
other pagans together and just enjoy each other's company and just, do stuff like that, just of remembrance and
Yeah, and I love that.
so.
That's wonderful.
Oh yeah,
And it's a
I've
lot of
wished.
fun, Julie. I enjoy myself.
Well, thank you. Unfortunately, I'm done doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably have like a smaller scale one because I do enjoy having people over and of like-minded people and just have fun and just kick back and just enjoy this time of year because it's our season
Right.
Right.
and it's
But it is a lot
so.
of work if you're hosting.
Yeah, it
So
is.
Oh yeah,
anybody who's
yes,
going to a celebration, be sure to be gracious to your host.
yes. Yeah,
It's a
and
lot of
don't
work.
complain about anything. I've had especially one person, no, usually two, excuse me, that would sit there and complain about none, the type of food, or it wasn't catered to them
Right.
specifically. And I'm like, I have different variation people that need different needs that need to be met for food wise.
Right.
And it's to where, so I was like, yeah, I'm done. Don't give the host or a hostess, a rough time
Absolutely.
because that just leaves a bad taste in our mouth to where we're not going to want you around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And clean up after yourselves. If you go to a party, or an event that's being hosted, pick up after yourself.
It's always better
Yeah.
Don't leave it
to
for
appreciate
the
it.
host or hostess to like stand there at the end and be like, "You're grown adults. You don't know where the trash is."
Right. Like I put a 32-gallon trash can out there. How do you miss it?
Yeah,
Right.
it's like you look and the tables are just full of trash, and it's like you couldn't walk 10 feet, you know.
Yeah.
So
And everybody at your party, they're grown adults, and there was no kids there, and it's like pick up after yourself. You're a grown ass adult. Figure it
yeah,
out.
and most of them never do.
Right.
I have to clean up
Most of
after.
them,
Oh,
most of them are over 40, well
yeah,
over 40.
yeah, yep.
So yeah, that's another ritual that we do that we don't like. But
Yeah, yeah, clean up time. A lot of times,
right.
though, it depends on the time of the night. If I'm too tired, usually afterwards, because pulling in the spirits and doing that
Hmm.
stuff, it just wears you out. And then plus
Sure it
hosting
does.
at the same time, you running all over like with your head cut off.
Hmm.
So it's like I usually leave for the next day where I've had that good sleep. Then I look at it, and I'm like, okay. And my kids, even though they're adults now, but they stay away because I'll put on my Christmas music to get me in that good cheery mood, and then I just go through the whole house. I do because, well, but the kids know that mellows me right out. Something
Oh, okay.
about Christmas music, it makes me happy. No matter what time of year, if I'm going through depression or anything, I'll put that on, and it lifts my spirits up.
Well,
And
you know,
probably
if it works
because
for
of
you,
oh yeah, probably I think
yeah.
because of my childhood. It was always a happy time in my childhood.
Okay, yeah.
So it sort of brings me back to that point. It's like that melancholy, that of remembrance and stuff, and away I go. So the kids
Well,
know once that goes on, leave mom alone.
well,
Mm.
yeah. I was gonna say that's another part of the the ritual is after the cleanup and all of that. It's you got to go ground yourself. You got to recollect. You know, let's come down. Let's get back to earth. Let's focus on what
Yep.
needs to be done. Let's
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we're hit like right after our New Year, and then it's the Thanksgiving coming up, and then after that's
yes,
Christmas. So it's like we got to start that cycle, and it's just like let's just take a few days to recollect, to collect ourselves. Excuse me, and then just move on from there.
exactly.
Yeah, because for the our 3 months are hectic.
Yes.
One of the rituals that I also did was Julie was there. It was at a hall, and I was actually just put on the spot for that one.
Oh, I
And like,
remember that.
yeah, are you gonna do a ritual? I hadn't planned on it. I wasn't asked to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
you
right
can
on the
do
spot.
something. Yeah, but oh, be damned if anybody put her on the spot like that.
Oh yeah, well, oh no, she won't.
No, but this is the same person that put me on the spot.
Yep, yeah, I remember that.
And
My
even my on the spot ritual that I did was better than hers.
watching grass grow is better than hers. But yeah, yeah, that was new being new to the group ish, and then how you pulled that one off. It was nice because it was all
Yeah,
a remembrance thing of the
yeah.
ancestors. Yep.
I just pulled it out my ass. It was like, here you go.
Well,
It
yeah,
was like, okay,
something
yeah,
simple, and it fit with the time of the year, and it worked out.
yeah. What was she expecting, really? I mean, you put me on the spot right then and there. She didn't tell me to, hey, can you do a ritual too? And it was just like, we were all there and the thing was going on, and she's like, oh, are you doing one? No, I didn't plan on it. I didn't have anything prepared.
Right.
Oh, you could do it.
Well, yeah. Well, you just showed her up anyway, so
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with this local area that we're in. It's just, I don't know.
they like to play being pagan, but they don't
Yeah.
want, they aren't.
They don't want to put in the work to make the necessary changes within themselves to grow and learn and
No,
evolve as a
no.
spiritual being.
Well, no, that's why I always said they like the aesthetics. They like the name. They like, that stuff. But to do anything to further educate yourself, to grow spiritually, mentally, they won't do it. That,
Hmm.
excuse me, that requires too much work, too much
Yeah.
effort. That's why I
Well,
stay in my
that's
own
even
little.
mundane life because, like, we're having a hard time keeping people at work because people don't want to work. Or they're having a hard time getting people in there because they don't want to work.
No, it's too easy to sit back and collect stuff off the government.
Yeah.
And then there's some people that do want to work that can't.
Hmm.
So it's.
So
This
even in
day and age
mundane
is
life, that's
interesting.
the attitude anymore.
Well, yeah.
Why should I put work into it? Why should I have to work to earn anything? Why do I have to earn anything at all? It should be just handed to me.
Because for too long things were.
Yeah.
It's just like that one woman that we know, she never bought anything for her craft. Things were just given because it's what she wanted. So she would bug people enough to give her a gift. And then when it came to where I'm like, well, why don't you do this or get this for it? Well, because I don't want to, you know, spend my money on that. I'll just have someone
Right.
else get it for me. It's like,
But
no.
the whole point of these rituals that we do, whether it's for Samhain or whatever other time of year, it's about learning and growing. And here, we're putting in our hard work, and then people come along and they want to piggyback off of your own hard work, and it's like, no, I'm not going to do that for you. You're going to have to do it on your own.
Well, yeah.
So I'm sure Oswin has experienced that, where people will come and they go, and they don't want to put in the effort. And
Well, I mean, yeah, you're always gonna get folks like that, but um, just continue focusing on you,
right.
and just don't worry about those other folks. It's not worth it.
No.
Right. That's why I like doing my stuff on my own. There's no one to, it's. But what I do though is such, well, I know around here it's a rarity, but for the most part, it's a rarity of what I do. It's not a common everyday thing to where you can run across, so many people that do it. I know for
Right.
this area, I can't say for anywhere else, but that's what it's nice that people can't, take what you do and piggyback off of it.
Hmm.
It's like, yeah, you can try. I'll sit back and laugh as your ass is getting burned because it's something that it's not an easy thing. It's a lot of, mental preparation and a lot of spiritual work to be able to do, to even communicate with the dead. It just, because you have to be prepared
That's like
yourself.
somebody, like, oh, I'm gonna go play around with voodoo. I'm gonna, try some of this
Good
stuff
luck
from the
there.
voodoo, and then they talk about, I'm not gonna do that again. Well, you're the dumbass that didn't want to put in the work to actually train yourself to do this stuff.
Yeah, but with voodoo though, you can't train yourself.
Right.
That one there, it's you have to.
I just meant that they didn't want to put in the effort to get the training that they need to perform the works within certain works
Right.
within voodoo, and they think they can just pick a book up and follow it like it's a recipe.
Well,
No,
it's
it.
just it's just like with people that think that they can, practice demonetry, working with demons, or that they can do necromancy and just start thinking that they can go, grab grave dirt
Mhm.
and just start working, pulling up spirits with not knowing what they're actually doing and what's going to bite them in the ass.
Right. And I don't care what tradition it is or what you're doing or what you're performing. It's going to take a lot of self work and a lot of training to get you to where you need to be so you can perform some of these acts, some of these rituals.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, some of them you figure some of my paths I've been over 20 years. There's still some things I will not do. Even though I know how to do it, I ain't going to mess with it.
Right.
I don't want to. Just like, there's some things I know with voodoo, how to do that. I ain't going to mess with that stuff.
You piss off the wrong ancestor of voodoo, it's going to hurt.
Or the wrong spirit. Not just
Yeah.
ancestor, the wrong spirit. No, I don't feel like dealing with that. I've had to help a couple people that have walked blindly into stuff that they shouldn't have and had to help clean up some things.
Yeah. So, do you think some of the things, Oswin, that we do, rather, no matter what the tradition is, we as practitioners of any of the pagan traditions, that it takes a lot of self work and a lot of self discipline and mental work and spiritual work that to perform some of the stuff that we do?
Yes, yes, I do. You can't. Someone once said, "If you don't empty your shit cup, how you gonna fill it back up?
That's a good
You
point.
gotta you gotta empty your shit cup, and then you gotta fill
Yeah.
it back up, and then you gotta empty it again. And
Right.
you got to keep on with that process. And I mean, that's one of the ways that you get yourself into the frame of mind to do some of these rituals. I mean, there's plenty of other work that needs to be done, but if you can't do that, you're not going to be much good to anybody, not even yourself.
No.
Right.
So
Does anybody else want to add anything?
I'm good. There's a buzzing. I know that. Is that
My phone is vibrating. I have the YouTube channel pulled up so I can watch the chat, and my mother is actually calling me right now. Bedtime,
okay?
mom.
Yeah, it's interesting because my mother texted me.
Hmm.
well, I
Oh,
think that about covers it.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it does. I think this went really nice, and thank you for joining us, Oswin.
Yeah,
It was
thank
always a
you.
pleasure to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
So, thank you for tuning in, everybody that is watching, and you guys all have a blessed night.
Bye.